Welcome to In the Blue, Facebook Live. Today, we're going to be talking about the 7 A's to become a star player on any team. I'm Michael Bailey. I am an entrepreneurial and executive coach and corporate trainer, and I'm excited to be here with you folks today. Why are we talking about this particular subject? Why would anybody want to become a great team player? What is that all about? I have noticed over the years that people working in a business, people working on a team, sometimes there's a certain amount of just not working together. There's a certain amount of resistance. Sometimes it's obvious. Sometimes it's kind of passive aggressive. Sometimes people just don't understand what's expected of them, what they're supposed to do, how it all works. And so there's this disconnection between here's where the business is going and the people on board, they're working together sometimes they're not, sometimes they're working against what's supposed to be happening. And sometimes it's a marvelous moment, right? When it all seems to be working together, that it's all just, man, we're moving and it's happening and it's great. If we could just do that consistently, wouldn't that be the dream come true? Well, that's what this is about today. How do we make that dream come true? Talking about it from a point of view of the individual player here, the individual team member. So let's take a look at the idea here of writing for the brand. This is I love that phrase, writing for the brand. Probably a lot of you people who are young may not even know what that means. Going way back in the day, as the phrase goes, writing for the brand meant you were a cowboy and you were writing for a rancher and you were writing for the brand. What was the brand? The brand was something that they put on all their cattle. They literally burned that onto the cattle so that people who stole cattle thieves, couldn't take that brand and, that cattle, like that particular cattle or a bunch of cattle, and say that it was theirs because the brand was on the cow. That's the way it was, and heavy penalties for those who were cattle thieves. So today, we've just taken that same idea of here's the brand. We've got several brands up here. We've got Google, we've got Pepsi, we've got Nike, there's tons of them. What's the brand all about? Well, the brand is something that identifies you, like it identified the cattle. But it's also now something that says, this is something I'm a part of, or this is something I participate in. So when you look at the brand, a logo here that's representing the brand, you should have, number one, kind of an identity. You identify with it. You know what they are, and you know what they are to you, and how you're going to work with them. But it also brings about something called emotion. I either like Google or I hate Google. I love Coke, or I love Pepsi, or I love Nike, or whatever it is, Chevrolet, Ford, Toyota, whatever the brand is. You have an emotional reaction to that. And so branding is part of being human in terms of we have this identity and that we connect with it. And that's what we want. We want to connect with the brand of the business that you're working with in such a way that it lends itself to a sense of unity, a sense of power, a sense of purpose, a sense of direction, and a certain sense of performance of getting things done at a very high level of excellence that you like, the doctor, the dentist, your employer likes, and the people that you're serving, your clients, your patients. So let's take a look at this. Let's start with number one. Number one, you got to be aware of it. If you don't know what the brand stands for, you need to ask. Somebody needs to step up and tell you, okay, this is what we are, this is what we are about, what we're not about. So knowing what you're about, what the brand is all about, what you're working for, what the purpose of the business is. The purpose of the brand is the first step in that process of, writing for the brand. I'm going to be part of the brand. The second thing you need to do is this. You need to agree with it. I would remember this one fellow I was working with and training in a particular business. He was there, but he really wasn't in. He kind of did what they wanted, but at the same time, he wasn't really, he wasn't really in. He wasn't really agreeing. He would follow some of the stuff, but he was kind of a lump on the log, you might say. He was there, but not in it to win it by any means at all. Kind of unfortunate for him because he was kind of a stumbling block for us, and they're training them, and also for the company itself. The third thing that you want to get to is alignment. Once you're aware, you know what the brand is all about, you need to take the active responsibility of aligning with the brand. You have certain kind of core values, certain kinds of principles that you work by, certain kinds of rules, you might say, about how you run your life. Well, you need to be able to take all that stuff, and this is how I do it, this is how I work, and then come to an alignment with the brand. Okay, so number one, you've got to like the brand. You got to like what it stands for. You got to like for what it's there to do, how it's going to serve others or help people, and what that business does. And so you've got to align with it, saying, okay, and alignment is really all about going from the heart. You want to be truthful. It's not an intellectual thing. It really is. And alignment is, that's the agreement part is more intellectual, but the alignment is about the heart. I am really in it. I'm going to make this a great contribution, a great thing that I do here. I'm going to help the business become better because I'm going and playing it with my heart. I'm thinking of another fellow that worked for me at one time. Great coach, a lot of ways, but he had some problems. He kind of wanted it to do it his way. The problem, and I was okay, if you want to do it your way, that's fine. However, your numbers have got to be where they need to be. His numbers of all the coaches that we had in this particular group were the worst. And in terms of industry-wise, they were actually pretty good. But in terms of what we did, they were not good at all. And getting him to get in alignment with what we did took some time. It took some time for him to give up what it is that he did and the way he did it and the way that he worked with our clientele. But as he did so, as he got in alignment, it wasn't that we were right and he was wrong, and and that stuff. It really was, we knew what worked. We knew how it worked. We were very clear on our processes. So as he got in alignment with us, as he gave up what he was doing in the past and now put his heart into it, all of a sudden his performance went, through the roof. It just started just really, really great. So alignment is important, that we align with our hearts. The next thing is this, act. Number 4 is act. And act is taking it from now, I agree with it intellectually, I'm aligning it with it, and now I'm doing something about it. I am in action. I'm going to get this done. I'm going to make this happen. I'm going to get these tasks done. I'm going to, whatever responsibilities I have, I'm going to go and do it. I'm going to do it, full throttle. This is what I'm going to do. And that's where training comes in. Training is a very important part of any business so that everybody's on the same page. It's easy to get off training. It's easy to get off your procedures, the things that you intend to do and plan to do, because life is chaotic and the business is chaotic. There's all sorts of things that are happening. So that's that idea of constant training, constant being in touch with, constantly working with, so that you've got that saw sharpened. It's always ready to go, doing what it is that you need to do so that you can get the job done. So training and action are a big part of being able to come in alignment and ride for the brand. Number 5 is about adhere. Adherence is when things get tough, when you're not in the mood, when you don't feel like it, when you're just not up for it that particular day. Despite that, or maybe there's things that are going on with the business, there's some changes that are happening, and it's in a transition or it's kind of a flow, or maybe the business is even having a difficult time. Your ability as a star player to adhere, to continue, to persevere, to persist, even when it's difficult, is part of what makes you a star player. I'm thinking of one particular person that I worked with. She was just great. L'Oreal was just a great employee, a great person. She went to the training. She showed up early. She got the information. She took down notes. She immediately went into action, and she implemented the training that was given her. And she was, she shared it with others, and she worked with others to help them understand the training and what was being done and what we're doing that was different here. She adhered. She was part of it. She was in. And even when it got difficult, she stayed with it. So adherence, even during difficult times, whether it's with another employee, the business itself, or yourself, is a huge character builder in becoming a star player on any particular team. Then let's go to adapt. Adapt seems like it's a little bit different in terms of I'm aligned, I'm taking action, and I'm staying with it, I'm adhering to it. But you know what? Life is not predictable. There's all sorts of things that happen in life that you just don't expect, that you're just not thinking are going to happen. There could be emotional things, there could be changes in procedures, there could be changes in laws and regulations, and there's all that kind of ability to adapt and go with it. But there's another kind of an adaptation, or being ability to adapt, that's probably even more important, and that is there are times you just have to think outside of the box. You have to think in such a way that what's going to be best for the client, what's going to be best for the patient, what's going to be best for the business. And we may not have it covered in our regulations, on our procedures. How can I, in that moment when things are difficult for me, for another employee, for somebody that we're taking care of, a patient or a client? What is it that I need to do so that I can take care of it, keep that client loyalty, keep the integrity of the company so that we make it work? That ability to step out, that ability to think outside of the box, to be very honest with you, is somebody who's really mature in terms of their emotions, being able to see things objectively, being able to understand what needs to take place. Now, the problem solving. There's a high level of, I get it, I got it, I'm doing it, and now I have to do something different. When you have, you business owners out there, when you have somebody that things that's aware, that's aligned, that's in action, and is adhering to what it is that you have set up in your business, and they're able to think on their feet. They're just not stuck. They have a sense of empowerment of what it is that they can do to help you run that business, in such a way that it's attractive, it's appealing. People want to come and do business with you. When you find those people, or you can train those people up to that level of thinking, adapting, thinking outside the box, you've got somebody who's really wonderful. Hang on to that person. Keep that person. Keep that person as happy as you possibly can, because that's a person that will work with you with their heads, with their hearts, with their hands, with their guts. And that's the kind of people that you want throughout your business, that ability to adapt. I think of one particular woman that I worked with, incredible. Christy was one of those amazing people. She came to us and she was looking for work. We were looking for a manager in this particular part of the business. She was smart. She was caring, had a great heart, and she was also that kind of person that could take command. She was a leader, but she wasn't arrogant in any way at all. She was very open. She was very willing to learn, work with our people, work with the people that we served, our clients, and she was wonderful. She helped transform that particular department in incredible ways. She had the ability to take what we were doing, look at how she could improve it, how we could improve our performance. She set up systems that we could track it. She trained other people to come and assist her. And with her work, with her dedication, with her talent that she brought to it, she helped us to take that department to a whole new, exciting level. She was one of the most wonderful people that I've ever met in my life. Just a wonderful person, but also an incredible employee. A person that really owned it. When you take a look at this idea of ownership, it's an interesting thing. And this is part of this whole thing. It's talking about ownership in whatever role, whatever capacity, whatever job position that you have. People that are really great at ownership, number one, they take this idea of responsibility, the ability to respond. That's kind of a play on words, but it's a huge thing. It's not a little thing. Your ability to respond in various situations really is an indicator of your power. Your power to think, to observe, to understand what's going on and what to do about it, to solve the problems, to bring down the anxiety, to whatever's going on, that ability to respond, having a lot of different tools, to work with people, to work with yourself, to work with the flow that the procedures demand. To respond is important because it requires you being proactive. You have to be proactive. You just can't let things happen. You can't just let and hope that you'll understand just by showing up at work that you'll understand this, you'll understand that. No, you got to be invested. You have to be proactive. You have to understand. You have to learn. You have to take notes. You have to ask questions so that you really do get it. And then you got to take action. You got to start practicing what it is you've learned. This is what we're talking about here. Being proactive, taking the responsibility, going into action, and doing stuff with it. And you will make mistakes. You can't help it. Nobody's perfect. You're going to make mistakes. You didn't understand this. You didn't understand that. Now it's clearer. Okay, and now I've got this. I got some good results going here. And so the idea of being responsible, being proactive, saying this is what I'm going to do. I'm really invested, taking action, and then whatever comes out of it, taking ownership of that. Man, it doesn't seem like a lot of people these days just don't want to take ownership, especially when something goes wrong. Especially when something doesn't work out. Oh, that wasn't my fault. I didn't do it. I got to, cover my behind. I don't want to have to deal with that. And so it's not really me. It's, well, it's them or that, or whatever, just all this excuse making. But that employee that will show up and say, yeah, I did that. This is why I did it. This is how it worked out. I thought I knew this, but I didn't. I'm sorry. I apologize. And how do we fix this? What do I need to do to take care of this? That's also part of the adapt and to learn and to be able to really take ownership of that position, that role that plays in the company, that you play in the company. And that's true for owners as well. Sometimes owners inadvertently work against themselves. I mean, you're part of the team too, Mr. Owner, Ms. Owner. You're part of the team too. So all the things we're talking about here apply to you, probably even more so. You're the one who's setting the tone. You're the one who's setting the model. You're the one who's setting the standard. You're setting the example through how you show up, how you perform, how you behave, how you work with other people. If you can't show up in that way, what you really do is you set yourself apart. Well, that's good for everybody else, but not so much for me. And you know this. You understand what I'm saying. So that ability for you to really come in and, align and act and adhere and be able to adapt is a big thing. And taking ownership of that, because you take ownership now in all likelihood. It's those owners that don't, where they just expect you, just do what I tell you to do. Just do what I tell you. That's hard. There's no real connection. There's no real sense of I'm part of it. It's just like I'm just a piece, on the chessboard. You're moving around. And that's, we probably see a lot of turnover in those kind of businesses because there's no sense of adhering. There's no sense of heart. People aren't bringing their hearts, their intellect, and their hearts and their hands really to go in and get that work done. So you got to watch that. You've got to be just as much into that sense of alignment and of adherence and of action as everybody else is, probably more so. And so you learning how to be able to stand back and take a look and realize that you're not perfect as well, that you need to be objective about what you've set up here. When you make mistakes, some of the policies and the procedures aren't working, to be open to share, to be open to learn, to be open to change and to adapt is a big deal. And adapting is also about when somebody else is just showing up to do their job, you have that ability to step in and help them, help pull them up to a level of performance. Now, of course, if it's happening all the time, then, you got a problem there. But still, when there's a need, you can go and fill in. It's not that you're always looking for it, but you're ready for it when it does happen. Number 7, let's go on to number 7 here. Acknowledge. When people are celebrating, having done a good job, it's important to acknowledge that. It's important to say at the end of the day, you did really great. You really did well here. I really liked what you did here. I love it. I love what you did here. This is great. We had a great day, guys. Let's go home, get some relaxation and some rest. Now let's show up the next day. Let's get on it again. That sense of acknowledgement, validation, celebration for any team is huge. It is what binds us together as a team. It is seeing the greatness in each other and saying something about it. You just can't see it. You have to actually say something about it. So speak up. So we talked about 7. Why did we say 7? Here's the 7 A's for becoming a great team player. Well, 7's an easy number, like 7-Eleven, 7 habits of highly effective people. But you know what? There's actually an 8th one. And 8 is great. 8 is advocate. And advocate is a great thing. And we're going to wrap this up here in the next minute or so. And advocate is where you're saying, I love being here. I am going to be somebody who advocates this business. I'm going to advocate the doctor or the dentist or the owner. I'm going to advocate the brand. I'm going to advocate the people who work here. I'm going to be a promoter. I'm going to be somebody who honors. This idea of loyalty, riding for the brand. Loyalty doesn't mean a doggone thing unless loyalty is associated with people, individuals, being loyal co-workers. Each co-worker that you have, being loyal to the boss, and being the boss, and being loyal to your employees, your associates there. That's what that's about. Being an honest, heartfelt, integrous advocate is really where the power of your business really comes from. Being that person that shows up, advocates, and is actively involved in the business and with the people. That's what it is. It's your people. The way you treat your people, the way you train your people, the way you hold your people accountable in kind ways and understanding ways. And yet, encouraging ways. That's what makes your business great. So we've gone through this. These are the 7, now 8. Here are the 8 A's of, becoming a great team player, whether at what level, boss, anybody else in the organization. And again, my name is Maikel Bailey. I'm an executive coach, corporate trainer specializing in leadership, employee development, team. And with you to make it happen, go out there and make it a great day. And we will see you again sometime soon. All the best.